Tell me when you're ready to start.
Yep.
Vertical steps, and then do the door.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, nahmadu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. من يحمد الله ودلها واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله اما بعد. My dear respected brothers and sisters, today we have a lot of conversation going on in the media and in our government about how we treat women, right? The assault on women. We're being bombarded. And I think about very simple story, personal story of how my grandfather taught me very simple lessons of how I should treat women, right? I'm sure you all have some, how you were raised. And it was very simple when I got married, and my wife is from overseas, and I brought my wife home to meet my grandparents, and my grandfather opened the door, and I brought my wife into the house. She had not entered more than 10 feet into the home, and my grandfather stopped her. And he said, straight into her face, he looked her in the eyes and said, listen, I know that you have no family here, but I will tell you this. If he lays one hand on you, you let me know. You let me know, because I will personally take care of him for you. You see, my brothers and sisters, this is how we need to raise our sons. I'm not talking about how we raise our daughters. Today we want to talk to you about how we are to raise our sons. This is an important thing. And that's what we're here to talk about to you today.
We need to understand, our brothers and sisters, that raising our sons come with these challenges that will tempt them due to the culture around us and our society and what they see around them in terms of objectifying, the culture that encourages objectifying women, and the fact that we live in a male-dominant society, that they will be tempted, or their peers around them, they will be tempted to treat women in improper ways sometimes. And that's where we come in as parents to teach them that how given the tools to be able to resist such urges. For example, there was the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he says, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه, that one would not believe unless he loves for his brother what he loves to himself. And in this context, brother is any human being. So if he thinks of his sister, his mother, if he wouldn't like his mother or sister being treated wrongfully or being attacked, he wouldn't like that happening to other women. So that's what we gotta teach our sons and ingrain in them, so they be able to resist those peer pressures and those cultural pressures around them.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulih wa alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Regarding the solutions to the issues that we have today in our society, regarding to raise our children, especially the sons, one of the tools, first, that we have to connect them with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first step. Also, the second point is we have to establish salat. Make sure we establish salat. Be a role model. So anytime there is salat, so you call your children and to make salat. If you can do it at the masjid, that's the best. If you cannot do it, establish it in your home. And even when you're not home, when you come back, make sure that your children they have done their prayer. So check their prayer. Another tool is also when all of us, we have children, we should involve them in some activities. And these activities also, it is much better if we are involved, not just drop your child and leave. Try to be engaged in that activity, and also connect them with some, especially if there is Islamic center in the area, so connect them so they can have good friends, good relations So they can also, some few things, they cannot learn from you everything, but they can learn also from the Islamic centers and from their friends.
Assalamu alaikum. So I wanted to leave you folks with a number of practical steps that you can take moving forward. I know many of us, our parents wanted us to be doctors growing up. Well, I'm sure many of us disappointed our parents, but now here's a good chance for you to actually play that role. I want you to first and foremost diagnose your child. Before you give prescriptions, before you prescribe any medicine, first understand him, get to know him. At least, if nothing else, spend at least once a week a date, one-on-one with him, where you prepare what you're going to talk about to make it engaging, and get into his world. Understand his pain, understand his challenges, realize what he's going through. And then, once you've achieved that, then you could start focusing on prescription. I guarantee you that once you've identified the challenges, if you don't know the answers, you can get it from somewhere else. But the most important thing to do is get in your son's world and understand the challenges he's facing. And make sure you build, your objective is to build an open relationship where he comes to you with all of his challenges. And if you are able to achieve that, alhamdulillah, you've achieved an enormous task that many people fail to do. And I'll leave you with the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ that says, first 7 years, play with your child. The next 7 years, train them, adab. The third 7, be his friend. And this is where we're lacking. So with that said, Assalamu alaikum, our friend will do the dua.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وآل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم آل إبراهيم العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أذل الشرك والمشركين اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد واجعلنا منهم واخذل من خذل دين محمد ولا تجعلنا منهم اللهم اغفر جميع المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات صلى اللهم على نبيكم محمد آله وصحبه أجمعين وأقيم الصلاة.
How long do you think you guys took? 5 minutes and 22.5 seconds.
I think it may have been a little bit more.
7 minutes. And if I was sitting in this khutbah, I know that you had a very short time to prepare this, but I think that you lack a relevant ayah. You remember we talked about one of the arkan being an ayah, right? I didn't hear one ayah unless I missed it. Did I hear an ayah?
No.
Read it.
We have it.
We have an ayah, but it's too long.
We're concerned about time.
Okay, all right. So that's to keep the point, right? Because in a khutbah you should always have an ayah, even if it's just in the opening. Right? One of our brothers used the ayah of Surah An-Nisa. We talked about
we have an ayat from Surah Nisa, but we just, like he said, we didn't put it in there. It's from Surah Nisa, ayat 19. Yeah.
The other thing is, when you started, Abdul Rashid, you grabbed me, but then I got lost because I thought you guys were going somewhere, and you ended up somewhere completely different. And either I got lost on the tracks or I took another train or something happened, but somehow you guys went sideways that I just got lost to it. I mean, I think you wrapped it up great when I started to understand that you're talking about raising your sons so that you don't get to what Abdul Rashid basically, but the grandfather story grabbed me. I think you should have found a way to carry it more through the subjects together. Right? Because you suddenly switched topics and it was just mind-boggling to get lost. Akhi, remind me of your name.
Abdul Hayy.
Abdul Hayy. Eye contact. Eye contact. What you were doing, Akhi. There's a way. Look at when I'm talking to you right now. So there's a way to speak, and if I'm moving my eyes too quickly and not holding the eye contact to finish a point, it seems like I'm shifty.
and I'm not as trustworthy or I'm not as confident in the topic that I'm delivering, then if I hold my eye contact with you while I'm finishing, then I say, Abdul Rashid, you could have done this. You see the difference with that? Versus just keep shifting your eye contact to do that. It was clear you have kids. What's your name? Okay, remind me.
Abdul Tawab.
Abdul Tawab. Because it was a personal touch with the kids. The wrap up, if you had tied into Abdul Rashid's story, then you would have brought it home. So if you're wrapping up, make sure to just at least touch the first subject so that it brings the whole topic together.
Sure.
That's because you are behind me, you didn't see the brother. He had his eye on contact with you because I barely couldn't see him.
No, I have nothing else to add. You can go to the next group. That was perfect.
Takbir! Alright, let's go, brothers. This group better be good because you stepped out and had your little timing session outside. I'm looking forward to this. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. We always start off with the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek His forgiveness, and by extension we send our praise to His Prophet. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Everywhere you look in the Quran, you'll find that Allah mentions taqwa everywhere you look. يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون. كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. So it becomes very evident that everywhere you look in the Quran, this taqwa, it's very important. That it is the pinnacle of a believer, of a mu'min. And that's what we should strive for, whatever we do. But there's one ayah in particular I'd like to focus on. And that is the ayah that's at the end of Surah An-Nahl. Ayah 128 in Surah 16. إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ. So in this ayah, Allah mentions that verily Allah is with the ones who are muttaqeen, who have taqwa. And those people are the ones who are known as muhsineen. So Allah gives us a characteristic that we can identify. One leads to the other. To truly appreciate what this is, we have to define these two. Taqwa and ihsan. Taqwa is it's a very loaded word. It's a very, very heavy meaning. But probably the easiest way to define it is taqwa is a state of consciousness or awareness of Allah such that it affects your everyday action. Similarly, ihsan is easier to define. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه هو يراك. That to worship Allah as if you can see Him, and since you can't see Him, know that He sees you. So this taqwa, this taqwa is such a transformative feature that it will affect your everyday actions and push you to excellence, which is another definition of the word ihsan. This taqwa is such that nearly 1400 years ago there was a man who we would consider undignified, a man who was by our moral standards as Muslims evil. This man who hated Islam and hated the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam and sought to destroy him and his followers. And when he came across this kalima, this shahada, it changed him to the point that decades later, where he was trying to destroy Islam, Islam has now flourished under him. And he has grown the ummah to heights never even imagined. And I'm talking about Umar radiallahu anhu. So the beauty of that though is this consciousness that pushed him, this ihsan, this excellence, it's self-serving. It's not goal-oriented. You know, the focus is Allah and Allah alone. And whatever happens, happens. But you're pushing towards excellence. And this is something that's especially critical to our everyday lives. You know, when you're at the workplace or when you're at school, even though you have a job and a duty to do, and a supervisor or a teacher you need to answer to, the one thing that should always be present in your mind that's pushing you towards that excellence is that there's Allah who's watching you. And that whatever you do, you'll do to the best of your ability and as honestly as you can, because Allah is watching you. And we can talk about the practical steps in achieving this taqwa and making sure that you're always aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after a break. أقولي قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم.
Dear brother and sister, please turn off your cell phones. Okay. First reminder. Okay, so talking about taqwa. So without having an iman, there's no taqwa. As we saw the example, the big fish bowl, that's your iman. If I don't have the iman, if I can be a fish, I won't be able to breathe, I'll be dead. So first thing you need in your life is the iman. That's when there comes taqwa, second thing. I would like to mention some action items. So how can I make my taqwa strong? How can I implement taqwa in my life? So first off, main important thing is listening to Allah's command, obeying Allah, whatever He has ordered you, and having taking care of your family, your brotherhood, taking care of your neighbor. Those things you can do to increase your taqwa. Also thinking about your afterlife, your death, what's going to happen to you after you die. So if you keep these things in mind, that will make you lead to have a good life, so you can be worried about your afterlife. And also having iman in Allah and making sure that Allah is always watching you. Now what things that affects my taqwa? Some of the thing is like having hate towards each other and not caring about other people, the other people feeling. So those things will hurt my taqwa. So I need to make it strong. So we all need to work together as we can start fresh today. You know, go home, love your family, saying, you know, why are we in this world? What's our purpose? So having the taqwa, being afraid of Allah and your afterlife, those are the action items you can take. And please donate for the mosque after you. Thank you.
Very realistic.
Yes.
So how long do you think you took?
I didn't time myself.
7 minutes, 10 seconds.
I'd say about 6 minutes.
Yeah, 6 minutes and 35 seconds. A couple of things. Number one, Abdullahi, you need to raise and lower your tone. If you start doing a 4-minute soliloquy at a monotone, you lose people. Yeah. By the way, sometimes even if you're giving the greatest khutbah in the world, you'll still have people sleeping. I mean, so just just very quick, if you'll allow me. 2 weeks ago, I was giving a khutbah at the Capitol. And my wife typically attends, if I give a speech, she's like my best critic because she's very she cuts me deep. Yeah. So she attended this khutbah, and I asked her after the khutbah, she's like, yeah, that was one of your better khutbahs. And a brother came up and said, that was the best khutbah in the world. I've heard in a long time. You know, all this praise that Tayyip talks about. And I had this brother sitting in the front row snoring. So it's like, you could be giving the greatest speech, and I've got a loud voice. And you could still have the brother or the sister that's, so don't be concerned with that. Be concerned with those that are awake and connect with them. You were looking at me, but you didn't do the eye contact with the other brothers that were around the room. And I think that your framing needed a little bit of work. I know you had to switch your topics quickly. But I'm going to leave it for play because I've spoken a lot.
No. The only thing I was thinking about, just kind of reflecting over the last couple of topics is, when you're preparing for any speech, and why I talk about know your audience is, it's not just you guys, it's happening, there's a recurring theme. Let's go simple with our khutbah.
Yes.
Let's go simple. We don't have to be scholars or provide academic khutbahs. You know, let's go simple. You know, make it easy, make it simple. You know, leave the academic, you know, conversations to those fiqh discussions, right? Make it simple, make it digestible. And that's why I really encourage you guys to read that book, Made to Stick. It's for everybody. You know, even the topic we were talking about, you know, how to raise gentlemen, and then we ended on a different topic somewhere else. I was even thinking there too, we were going way too academic, but then ended up as two khutbahs here too. Feedback. Body language is so huge. Body language is so huge. And practice this at home with your kids too. That's the best place to practice it. Like the best place to practice how to speak and how to talk.
Or your wife.
Yeah, with your wife also, you know, and that's gonna make them feel like you care. When you stand, you know, like this and you don't talk, people around you can't feel like you care. But when you're like, oh really? That was amazing. What happened? Tell me some more. That really makes the other people think that you so care about them. You know what I mean? And brother, what was your name?
Farzal.
I think there's something special inside you, man. I felt some personality come through that I was connecting with.
Oh my God, the donations,
all of it. All of it. There was some pizzazz in there. I think you really need to take this seriously. Not that you're not.
Right.
But I think, mashallah, there's something there. I think, you know, when I was really young, I had a mentor say to me, he said, Tayyib, Allah has given every individual a raw talent. What you've got to do is figure out how to convert that talent into a skill. And he said Michael Jordan was a talented athlete. He had to work on being a skilled basketball player. And just because he was a talented athlete didn't mean he could be a skilled baseball player. He failed at baseball. He succeeded at basketball. He goes, just like that. He goes, Allah has given all of us a raw talent. You have to find that talent, turn it into a skill, and then he said, now once you've turned it into a skill, maybe you're the best surgeon on the planet. Maybe you're the best orator on the planet. Maybe you're the best writer on the planet. Maybe you're the best fuqaha on the planet. Now you have a choice. Do you use it to serve yourself or you use it to serve humanity? You see what I mean? I'm just seeing some really influential ingredients going on in here. I'm telling you, there's something special there, man. I mean, I think, you know, like I saw it wanting to come out.
I learned from my older brother. He's the imam, so.
You see that?
there you go.
He gave khutbah.
That's where the donation part comes in.
And then you're like, you were moving your head, but I felt in your mind you were on stage like this. Right? So there's something magical there, inshallah.
And I give khutbahs like in a marine military base at Quantico with all the Marines in front of. Most of them are converted Muslims.
We have a pro here.
So
who's your brother, older brother?
Awais Ahmed.
So,
Jazakallah khair. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar. Well, who's next?
Who's next? Is there another group?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirat wal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي.
MashaAllah, did better than I expect. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Since the brother gave the forward, so I just get into the topic. My topic was actually ethics, our way to deal with each other, and to look for our leaders, and the respect for the ulama, as in, for example, we look at Abdullah ibn Abbas. This person was like about 14 years, and he was the best scholar in his time in tafsir Quran and hadith. And when Umar ibn Khattab was walking on the street and would see him, he would come and shake his hand and actually kiss his hand. And he said, this is how we've been ordered to take care of our ulama. Where Abdullah ibn Abbas in return kissed the hand of Umar ibn Khattab and said, this is how we thought to treat our khulafa. Now here I was talking to the brothers about the deal and wheel between our Muslim people and Arab in general. That when you go to deal with a Muslim person, you take advantage of him in a place of helping him to grow up and be better. And this topic is really going to take a long time if I want to go to it. But what I always advise is look for a person to help, not to kill. Try to look for your leaders and get them out from their sleeping. Let them talk, let them show up, and then get the benefit of them. And I will cut right here.
So basically, to put it short, you shouldn't like be afraid to do something, or like as long as you think like you're doing something right, then you should like keep on going on that path, and you have like that inshallah Allah will be with you. So yeah, just brush down like the path you believe in.
You're in high school right now, 9th grade?
10th grade, yeah.
10th grade, standing in front of a room full of strangers. Come on, guys. You're going to remember this day in 20 years. Trust me, inshallah. It's really going to help.
If I am around.
So how long do you guys think you're probably speaking
About 6 minutes, I guess.
No, 3.5.
5.
3 minutes and 20 seconds. Wow. There we go.
I didn't want to go deep because then we will do Taraweeh in here, inshallah.
I actually like what you did there. You sort of, right through the middle, instead of getting into the weeds, you didn't drag me into the weeds. And I like that. You sort of made the point. You ran too fast through your solutions, maybe because you're waiting on him to follow up with a solution. I like how you built up the story. I like how you built up the problem. I love the story. Was awesome. That story was great. And I think you were probably expecting the tips to come next.
Right, because like I am saying, I felt like they are kind of afraid to present themselves, so I was pushing them to move. So there, I forget my role.
So I would just say, brothers, we're not doing this in a khutbah.
No, after it's finished, isn't it?
You were doing it while you were speaking.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was doing tasbih.
Yes. That's a great comeback up in the mean, but people don't know that you're doing tasbih.
Now you see it.
Yeah, body language.
Yeah, so that was really important. The other thing is it's really useful to frame with an ayah. It is very useful to frame your khutbah with an ayah. If you, right now, while we're sitting here, if we had time, I would tell you, just give me a topic. You give me a minute. Trust me. I come up with an ayah, you build a whole khutbah right off of that ayah within minutes. Yeah. Yes. And it's very easy to do because as soon as you Sheikh Google is very useful because as soon as you pull that ayah, you can start looking at why that ayah was revealed. You can start looking at some ahadith where the Prophet ﷺ may have mentioned that ayah, and you start building a whole topic, and you actually got a story with that frame, and you've created the whole framework that Khateeb was talking about in your khutbah.
But you just need one ayah.
Yeah, just one. Because, brothers, these ayat are so powerful that you can actually get so many different angles from the different ayat and build a whole khutbah around it. If we start mentioning more than one ayah, we start to lose some of the magic that you want, right? You want to hit a subject, and then you want to step back and let people soak it in. And that's what the whole point of bringing the ayah and then bringing the frame around the ayah and the hadith and the stories of doing so, inshallah. And sometimes we think people haven't gotten it, so we want to keep repeating the point. I found that my khutbahs get worse when I try to belabor a point or get into the details of it. Stay away from the weeds. Hit the ayah, get your main points, and just trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let the topic sink into people.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون قال الله تعالى في كتابه العزيز يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. Here we have very beautiful faces. Our believer brothers, they left their work and they came to join us for Friday prayer. Alhamdulillah, this is big ni'mah. Allah invited us to His house. Now, as you know, only 7% from the Muslim population in USA, they come to the mosque. And you are from the elite people that chosen from God to attend this Friday prayer. Saying that that Friday prayer right now, the community is growing right now. We need a lot of Islamic centers. We need a lot of khutbah. Some mosques, they just only have 2 or 3 times. Now this expansion right now, it needs your support. Cannot be growing without your support. Allah Azza wa Jal, why we are coming to Friday khutbah? We are coming inshallah to listen to Quran and Hadith, and the Malaika will come with us and give us تحفنا الملائكة وإن شاء الله تبارك وتغفر السيئات and forgive our sin. But this Islamic center right now, they need your capital from your pocket, and this capital give you a return 700%, inshallah. And the brother here, he's going as some reference from Hadith and Quran how we can benefit from this, inshallah.
Dear brothers and sisters, as it is mentioned about the importance of sadaqah, it is really very important things to support the Islamic centers, especially in the non-Muslim countries. If you think about all over the world, the non-Muslim countries, all Islamic centers are run by the sadaqah, those who are paying their wealth or those who are paying their monies or those who are spending their monies on the way of Allah. Because Allah Jalla Jalaluhu mentioned in the Holy Quran that مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله سميع واسع عليم. It is mentioned in the Holy Quran, if a person is giving one money, for example, it will be duplicated and multiplicated. It is like an example of a seed. You put it in the earth and it grows a clusters, and in this clusters will be 100 of the cluster or 700 of the cluster. So it is very important giving sadaqah for your life, for your child, for your benefit, as well as it is mentioned in the hadith an Abi Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال ما من يوم يسبح العباد فيه إلا ملكان ينزلان فيقول أحدهما اللهم أعطي منفقا خلفا ويقول الآخر اللهم أعطي ممسكا تلفا. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned that there is two angels are coming every day to the earth. One of them are saying that, hey Allah, give those who are giving their money to the way of Allah someone that who represent him in the future, give him a khalaf. مثل مثلا أولاد الصالح وبعض أشياء آخر يعني مثلهم as an example of having good khalaf in behind of you. And give those who are not paying their money to the way of Allah mumsikan talafan yani I don't know how to explain the words of mumsikan talafan in English. It is my English problem. Stingy people. Stingy. So it is very important. So giving sadaqah has reflections, positive reflection in your life, positive reflection in the society, positive reflection in everything. I want to very shortly share one of the
practical example of giving sadaqah, especially on the treatment of the illness or the sickness. One of my friends had, his wife was sick almost for four months, and it was not recognized. He was in Pakistan on that time, and he was disappointed visiting every hospital. Unfortunately, it was not recognized that what is the problem. Then I advised him, I recited a hadith about the giving sadaqah for the treatment. So I advised him to give a sadaqah because of the illness of your wife, and after that he did a sadaqah. After 1 day or 2 days, it was recognized that he has a falciform malaria in his mind. It is a very bad sickness. I'm sure you know about the malaria, that the parasite hide himself or itself inside the red cellular of the blood cells. It is very difficult to find it out under the microscope. So after the giving sadaqah, it was recognized, and he started malaria drug, and she was recovered from the illness, and it was right now they are living in the UK, and still he's remembering whenever we are talking among us, he's remembering that things that the advice of giving sadaqah, it affects in our life. So it is very important. I encourage you to give sadaqah as much as possible. It doesn't matter that it is big or less, even if it be $1, 1 penny, in the sake of Allah, give the sadaqah.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected brothers. We're taking this as a subject, not as a khutbah, so we can make it clear. My dear respected brothers, both talked about the masajid and the sadaqah. And the best example for us is our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first thing he did when he migrated to Medina, what did he do? Build a masjid. And how the masjid will be built? By the effort of everyone. Everybody's given. So giving is a nature for us as a Muslim. As a Muslim, we should give. As a Muslim, we should donate. Not only with our money, with our time, our intellect, with our effort. This is what donations means. This is what sadaqah. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stated, as-sadaqatu burhan. That means the sadaqah is a proof. So alhamdulillah, for ni'mat al-Islam, and the brothers spoke passionately about the need, the percentage, the sadaqah, what does it do to us, how does it help us as a community, and as an example for others. Not only we should give a sadaqah to our masajid, we should reach out to other communities and be part of it. This is how our beloved Prophet did when he migrated to Medina. He's the best example for us. أحبكم في الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
So how long do you guys think you did?
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
10 minutes. 7 minutes and 3 seconds, or 4 seconds. So it was a little bit long. The other thing is, we started with إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله. But the tying of فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله to the سبع سنابل was missing. And when you mentioned the story, it was a great story, but you mentioned too many details. You could just easily say, you would have cut a minute out if you had just said, there was a brother and his wife, or the brother they couldn't find until he gave sadaqah, and suddenly the doctors found the cure, right? And that would have given the same impact than with all the details that you're going to lose people with those details, and it eats up the time. And then the other thing is, when Brother Abdullah started, you needed to tie back into the first ayah. It was great. I know you ran out of time, and I saw you looking at the time. But tying back in is so important. Brothers, I cannot emphasize enough doing a quick recap at the end of your khutbah will just basically bring that khutbah alive for people. So never forget to just do a quick recap. And it's not like a 2-minute recap. I'm talking 10 seconds. Okay, today we talked about this, 2, 3, and that's it. And don't belabor a point. Say it once, let it sink in, and alhamdulillah, people will grab it.
In fact, we have it. I have it, but because I am the first one, not the last one. Okay, I was trying to say in summary, the 3 points we focus today is about Jum'ah prayer, building Islamic center, and donate to keep point A.
Too many points.
Too many points. Yeah. Remember, like if you're saying 2 things, you're saying too much already.
Okay.
Like when you started, when you By the way, you get 5 stars on hand movement and body language today out of all. Don't you guys think? I think his body language was the best today. We got his. Yeah, I think it was there. You were waving a little too much, you know. So, but I think your hand movements were fantastic, mashallah.
Thank you.
I just I thought we were talking about coming to the masjid in the beginning, and remember, somebody in the audience who understands Arabic, they're going to hear the ayat, and they're framed in a different way than somebody who doesn't speak Arabic. Okay? So you have to remember that, right? So as soon as you say an ayat, some of these brothers, mashallah, who know Arabic, who know the ayat, they're already in the subject. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
Right? So then it wasn't until after that, even though I know the ayat and I was kind of there. But when I didn't know, are we talking about coming to the masjid? Are we talking about sadaqah? Is this a fundraiser?
The importance of Friday prayer and how you collect money from the people right now. Yesterday I attended a khutbah. Subhanallah, the Khateeb was talking about sadaqah, sadaqah, sadaqah. He never mentioned any ayah or hadith or encourage people. You said about encouraging, about he never meant.
When you want to fundraise, Akhi, and Brother Tayyib will probably say this better than me, but you could have used the sab'a sanabil and brought the picture. And you could have said, al-mathalu habba, this habba is this young man. And that young man who grew up in this masjid, and then suddenly is now, this is the point of trying to bring people to an actual image. So that you bring the Quran to life, because this is the imagery that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you when He says, مَثَلُ حَبَّةٍ أَنْبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلَ. He's giving you that this one seed now has 7, things coming out of it. فِي كُلِّ سُنْبُلَةٍ مِئَةُ حَبَّةٍ. And each one of those has 100 seeds. So it's an imagery. So the more you can bring the imagery to the actual reality, that's how you begin to actually grab the the emotion that Tayyib talked about, the success principles that he mentioned up on top. Sometimes you just need the one hadith, but you need to connect it to something in real life.
I think the broad stroking lessons for all of us here is you can see how difficult it is to try to communicate more than one thing in less than a few minutes. Very difficult. So just stick to one thing. Just trust me on that. If you cannot remember anything I told you today, if you ever have to have a conversation, stick to one thing and nail it, right? Just one thing, right?
Excellent.
Let it be donate only. Let it be come to the masjid. Let it be just sadaqah. And then just have that one practical tip for sadaqah. And it was a recurring theme today. A recurring theme today in most of the presentations was we're just trying to cram a Medina degree in 7 minutes on a subject. It's not possible. So stick to just one thing. And then the other piece is don't over-explain your why and your problem. In this book, Made the Stick, when you read it, it actually talks about, one of the principles is be unexpected. When people expect what you're about to say, they stop listening. So right when you start your khutbah, and you start saying, come to the masjid, the guys who come to the masjid all the time are like, okay, boom, gone.
It's a fundraiser.
Right? Or, oh, it's a fundraiser, boom, gone. Right? So what he says in the book is to create information gaps. When you have gaps, people don't know what to expect, and they're forced because curiosity is so powerful. Curiosity is so powerful. So you want to create these information gaps. So either information gaps or storytelling. Those are the 2 most powerful tools to keep your audience engaged. So simple, talk about one thing in your khutbahs. Go into the solution and the tips more than the why. Everyone knows the problems. The problems are talked about more than anything else, right? I have this one brother who gives khutbahs, and he told me he frames all his khutbahs around, wouldn't it be cool if? Every khutbah, wouldn't it be cool? He starts off, amma ba'd. And his ayat is in there too. In the introduction, before amma ba'd, the ayat is there. Then he says, I was driving the other day, wouldn't it be cool if we had you know, no homeless people in this town. Isn't that a wild idea? This is how I think we could do it.
Wow.
And then this is what Allah said. And then this is the benefit if we achieve it. Here's the one thing we can all do after we leave today to solve this problem. Right? Wouldn't it be cool if? So that's another strategy tip that we should. I gotta start going to the airport. So.
Right.
All right.
Jazakumullah khair.
Takbir.
Allah.